Okay, everyone. So, welcome to our session today. I'm really happy that you're able to join live and that we can spend these 40 minutes together. It's quite an exciting topic. Um, it's a topic that I speak with many clients and many people regularly about letting go. Um, because the things we hold on to oftentimes cause us sorrow. The things we hold on to in here and that we replay, they often cause us sorrow and suffering. And my aim in our session today is really to bring some attention to that practice, that habit that we have. So we can understand a bit why we do it, how it harms us. It's not innocent. It's not innocent at all. No matter how justified we believe we are in replaying and holding on to old hurts, and teach some simple techniques about overcoming it. So I'm going to share the slide. Right. So are you still carrying in your mind? So as we go through our time together today, I invite you to keep an open mind that's willing to learn. We're here to learn. We all already know so much. But with all that knowledge that we already have and wisdom, it won't increase unless we're willing to learn new things. So an open mind that's willing to learn. We'll be sharing in the chat. You will see different views, different perspectives from yours. We are absolutely all different. When you think of our thumbprints, we could use it as a form of identification. The same way our mind is different, the same way our life experience is different. So when you hear someone speaking about something in a different way from you, from a different perspective, we really ought not to be surprised because it's supposed to be different. All right. So be respectful and be kind. Everyone's been walking a challenging journey in this lifetime, I can tell you that. Um, so be mindful as you share, and please don't give anyone any advice. No one is here for advice from anyone, including me. All right. And do write all the comments and the questions in the chat. We will pick them up at some point. And just to let you know, the norm is that when the session is finished at 7:10, I do stay on for a few minutes. So if there's anything else, I invite you to stay back and we can have that space together where it's an informal space, all right? And not recorded. So I'm a transformational coach, a leadership, teams, and the life development specialist. I support organizations and individuals with mindset work and transformation, building resilience, building leadership capacity, in the same way with individuals, and also helping people overcome life challenges and also achieving their goals. And I support um, organizations and individuals face to face and online. So I'm accessible, all right? When we think of our focus in today's session, it's understanding why the mind replays unresolved emotional experiences, learn about the hidden emotional cost of holding on to the past. In a nutshell, it's suffering. It is suffering. But we will learn about the hidden emotional cost. But I could tell you it's suffering. And develop practical ways to shift the perspective and to begin letting go. Before we get into all of this, we all would have come rushing from somewhere. We all have really busy days. I had a really busy day. Um, and that's why I said I'm so grateful that I have a high level of tolerance that no matter what comes, I can still show up here in this space and be able to give you my 100%. Many of us might have come in from rushing. We have many challenges we deal with every day. So it's proven in research that when we can regulate our nervous system, we get the most, we make the best opportunity out of coaching sessions. So I invite you to just take a couple minutes and let's center ourselves. So I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, then close them halfway. And shift your attention away from the busy thoughts and focus instead on your body. Feel the weight of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Now take a few deep breaths and notice the rising and falling of your chest with each breath. Observe what you feel as you inhale and exhale. Now relax back into the natural rhythm of your breath. And let go of your thoughts as they come. Now gently rub two fingertips against each other with such a tension that you feel the fingertip ridges on both fingers. Gentle and with enough force that you could feel the fingertip ridges on both fingers. Gently rub all the fingertips of one hand against the fingertips on the palm of the other hand. Feel all those sensations of touch. Again, notice your breath. Notice the rising and falling of your chest with each breath. invite you to open your eyes gently and let's jump into our session. If you're feeling more calm than you did before, feel free to put it in the chat. So when we think about remembering repeatedly painful situations and experiences we've had, we could do that for any amount of different reasons. We can be trying to make sense of it. We can be trying to resolve it. We can be stuck in it, wondering why and how it happened and why would they do that to me. All those kinds of things. We could be just experiencing it coming to our mind repeatedly. You know, everyone has had horrible experiences. Every one of us. I've had my fair share. And, you know, whether it's hurt, disappointment, betrayal, rejection, unfairness, emotional suffering, emotional pain, we've all had that. We've had it at the hands of other people, and sometimes we cause it to ourselves. We experience regret. We blame ourselves for situations we've been in or things that we've done. We've all also done wrong things. We've caused harm and hurt to others too. And many of us, it bothers us, our consciences, right? So unknowingly, we carry around this emotional pain and the wounds for many years. And it's not healthy. And as we go into the session, you'll understand why. Letting go of whatever has happened is not weakness. It's emotional freedom. It's freedom from emotional pain. It's me choosing freedom from emotional pain. So that's self-love, that's self-care. As we go through our session tonight, it's not about excusing harmful behavior, but about freeing ourselves from the emotional prison of a painful past. I invite you to just reflect for a moment. What emotional pain have I been carrying for too long? What emotional pain have I been carrying for too long? Don't put it in the chat, please. Just think of it. By replaying painful experiences, we rewire our brain to replay those experiences. We create mental habits of replaying it. So when we think of anxiety, people who suffer from anxiety, and we can all experience low levels of stress, anxiety, and depression as we go about our normal days. No medicine, no treatment, anything required for it, no. But as a result of life, we live in a very challenging world. So we can have these experiences, all right? Some people experience chronic anxiety. So anxiety at a high level over a long period of time. And you keep replaying, it's just on repeat. Things keep repeating. We create habits. When we think of what neuroplasticity is, it's the ability of our brain to create new neural pathways. So habits, traits. And by replaying, we do this to ourselves. So we create habits of pain for pain. The brain strengthens whatever it repeatedly focuses on. So we don't even have to consciously think about doing it. Replaying these painful memories create deep mental habits, deep painful habits, and it keeps the emotional wounds active. Think of maybe when you all were kids and you got a little cut. I know this certainly for me. And as it heals, children always want to pick at the cut, picking off the scabs. But what it does is that it prolongs the healing. I got quite a number of little slaps on my hand for that to leave the cuts alone. I had quite an active boyhood. Um, so it's the same with emotional pain. And notice I'm making light of it versus making it heavy. Coaching is not therapy and it's not counseling, right? Let's talk about it and be light but not judgmental, and let's not go into pain. That's not what we're here for. We're here to move into the light. So the small hurts can become worse over time because we replay it. We keep feeding it with negativity. So a little thing, they say you make a mountain out of a molehill. A little thing, because we keep thinking, we make it worse. Now we make it worse for us to have to deal with because we are the ones to fix it, right? So replaying, replaying of the scenarios, often called rumination, it leads to emotional exhaustion. So when you think of what emotional exhaustion is, you're burnt out. You feel like you can't deal with anything else. You're weary, you're worn out. How does that impact on your life? Think about it. When you are emotionally exhausted as a result of the past, where's the room for happiness and joy and peace? By replaying, we experience chronic anger. So, a high level of anger for a long period of time, resentment, bitterness, sadness, frustration as a result of carrying these old hurts, these old wounds. And thirdly, psychosomatic impact. So, what we feel in our mind, in the brain, it now has a chemical reaction in our body and it leads to illnesses. So, when you think of some of the illnesses that we could end up with, think of headaches, think of hypertension, think of digestive issues, all of these things as a result of emotions that we are carrying. When you think about being angry all the time, resentful, bitter, sad, always on edge, how do you show up in your interactions with your loved ones? How do you show up at work? Think about carrying old hurts from the workplace, something that happened in the workplace. What is your performance like? How do you deal with those same people? What happens when the people are at home that you have these issues with? How happy is that household? How harmonious are the evenings and the interactions? It has an impact on us, right? When we think of how it affects our mental health, it definitely will create anxiety, depression. When you think about the body, muscle tension, pains, stress, fatigue. So whoever hurt us, it happened a long time ago, but I've put myself in a prison and I'm keeping the pain alive only in my mind. So the person did it 5 years ago, but I've done it to myself 100 times since. So they hurt me once, but I hurt myself 100 times. And then I'm upset with them for hurting me once. Am I even upset with myself or wanting to acknowledge the responsibility for the 100 times? Something to think about, right? So I'd like you to think for a moment. Are you holding captive in your mind? And what situation do you keep replaying in your mind? What emotions do you experience when you think about it? How long have you been carrying this emotional weight? How has it been affecting your peace, relationships, confidence, and happiness? So let's move on to understand letting go. Notice I'm not using the word forgiveness, right? We're not talking about forgiveness. That's a whole different topic. So, letting go does not mean approving harmful behavior. It doesn't mean that we're in agreement with the wrong things that people do or that they've done. Letting go doesn't mean that I'm going to leave behind the wisdom that I gained from the experience because we can all learn from challenging moments, right? I think those are the best opportunities to learn. Doesn't mean that we will allow repeated abuse. No, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely not. And it doesn't mean that we remove our healthy boundaries, that we let others just do what they want to do. No. When we think of letting go, we're thinking of releasing the emotional bondage. It's a trap that keeps us in pain. It's reclaiming our peace. It's choosing healing, healing from the horrors, right? And it's me refusing to let the past control the future. Whatever has happened, it's happened. It's gone. So we want to let it go. So how do we do this now? There are different approaches that I'd share with you. One is reframing. So it's looking at it differently. First thing is that we can say that life happens for me and not to me. When I think that life happens to me, I'm a victim in life. I'm at the mercy of everyone and everything. But when I say that life happens for me, painful experiences can become an opportunity for growth. And challenges often allow for learning, for wisdom, for increasing our mental and emotional resilience, and increasing our emotional maturity. I can tell you that I often say life happens for me. There's a benefit in everything. Maybe I don't see it in the moment, but it's there. I believe that the universe is on my side, no matter what happens. Another reframe is everyone receives the consequences of their actions. One way or another, we could say good and bad. So whatever anyone has done to me, they're going to get the return of it. I don't need to be judge. I don't need to be the jury. I don't need to be the executioner. No, no, no. Whatever anyone has done, they've done it. And life will give them the return. And the third one is I look through eyes of learning. What can I learn from that experience? I often say that when we look at ourselves in the past, when we look at us, when I look at myself, when I look at my experience, it says I look through eyes of love, kindness, learning, and compassion. I always look at myself that way. Because if we're struggling with past experiences, what's the benefit in being rough with ourselves? What's the benefit of blaming myself and being judgmental? Sometimes the only compassion we'll experience is from ourselves. And if we don't give the compassion to ourselves, then what, we'll never have it? No, we need to give it to ourselves because we deserve it. We deserve it. When we think of learning from the experiences, we grow. I'm not sure if you've ever heard this, but in my lifetime, I've often heard the term the University of Life. Life. And when I was young, I used to hear the term the School of Hard Knocks, which was also life. But life, oh my gosh, who teaches us to live? No one really. We go to school our whole life to learn how to join the workforce, but nobody really teaches us to live, how to think, how to feel, what are the boundaries we need to set with others, with ourselves. Nobody really teaches you that. You kind of figure it out along the way. There are books, there are movies, there are your life experiences, there are coaches, there are therapists, there are counselors, there are psychologists, but we learn through pain. We learn about life through pain often. Yeah, what we see too, right? So mental reframing is one of the ways we can use to treat with letting go of those old things and even dealing with things in the now, right? When challenges come, ask, ask yourself these questions. So there are some emotional release techniques where you interrupt, you pause how you're feeling. So it's an approach in emotional intelligence. You're aware, so there is awareness of what's happening. You pause, you take a breath, and then you choose what is the best response. For those of you who were in our previous session on emotional intelligence, you may recall that technique. The second one is emotional release writing. Write a letter. Write a letter to the person or write a letter to yourself that you never send. You never send this letter. It's for you. It's for you. And when you're finished writing it, write all that you feel, what you felt at the time, what you feel now. Just give yourself freedom to put all the feelings on paper. And when you're finished, you could tear it up, you could light it afire safely, but whatever is symbolic for release and destroying it. Writing allows you to express all your emotions honestly. Go through the motions of whatever the feelings are in safety. And the third one is the compassionate perspective, where when you think of the person who's done whatever they've done, including yourself, you could say that, hurt people, people who are hurt, people who are carrying trauma, people who have had horrible life situations, they are in emotional pain and distress, and they now affect others because they're operating from that place. Notice it's compassion, it's not giving them a pass, but it's giving you a pass. It's letting yourself off the hook of whatever they've done that you're not going to carry it. You say, you know, that person is an emotionally damaged person, and what else do you expect from them? So you can move on. Notice it's not excusing bad behavior. And when you say hurt people, it's not a permission we give. That because you've been hurt, it's okay to hurt somebody in return. No, that's not at all what we're thinking about. We're simply thinking about releasing the emotional poison, letting it go, just letting it go. I often think of um, the movie Frozen and Elsa when I say let it go. Maybe you all know that song, especially those of you who are parents and would have had children who were hooked on that song, right? Let it go. Just let it go. You know, we we've all we've all had horrible experiences. We live in a world where many things can go wrong and it can impact on us in a negative way. There is no value in consciously carrying the mess from the past. All it is pain. It's more pain. Pain ruins our mind, our brain, our body. You know, in when I looked at the registrations for our session today, so many persons who registered spoke about letting go of pain, spoke of trauma. You know, with all the pain and with all the trauma, we still push ourselves to show up for other people, for work, you name it. We keep pushing ourselves. But there is a limit, you know, there is a limit. And if we don't do what is right for ourselves, which is to heal, which is to recover, then the crash out is not going to be pleasant. That's when we seek professional help. We often end up having to use medicines. So we're having a horrible life experience plus having to go to the doctors to get medicines. And there's no guarantee that medicines work for everyone. So, you know, my heart's wish is that whatever the pain there is, that, you know, begin practicing these little techniques and see what works for you. You know, this topic on letting go, this could easily be a 3 hour session, like a workshop where we work through things that at the end of it, you know, you really leave lighter, you leave with awareness and you leave with practices. And maybe that's something I'll consider in future, to put on for a space like this, that you can have the benefit. Um, so just one more reflection before we close up. You know, let's show the slide because I know we need the slide. So think for a moment, what pain are you ready to stop carrying? What pain? Emotional pain, that is, huh? We're not talking about the pain in the knee, but emotional pain. Are you ready to stop carrying? What would your life feel like if you truly let it go? Step, think of a small step toward healing. Can you begin today? When you think of the healing, think of the techniques we spoke about. What small step can you begin today? So everyone, this brings us to the end of our session. I thank you very much for participating, for engaging. I encourage you to put into practice the techniques, you know, shift that mindset, create a better life for yourself. We can all benefit from healing. Believe me, we can all benefit from healing. I, um, you know, I'm in preparation for for our session, you know, I ended up writing a letter that I destroyed, of course, to someone who was in my life 24 years ago. 24 years ago. I finally gave myself that release. And it worked. It worked. All right. So don't think because these tools, these approaches appear simple, don't underestimate the power and the value of them. And if any of you believe that you're carrying too much and you would like my support, feel free to reach out. I'm here. This is what I do every day. You know, I believe in humanity's ability to grow and change and transform. I have all hope and faith in humanity. So if you believe you want to give yourself that support, that opportunity to create a new life, then I encourage you to get in touch. So everyone, keep well and stay happy. And I look forward to seeing you again at our next session. Bye bye. So